But for now, learn of the mysteries. Sorry, wait, hold up. Wait, we have volume. Hold up. We're gonna update all this after our intro. But today, after a 1 week delay and the beautiful reveal of the Dunghua episodes 1 and 2, slightly rushed, but still good nonetheless. And we must wait till episode 3. We are starting volume 4, baby. The Undying. I think it was called Undying, right? Undying? I was close. I said the Undead, but it's the Undying. Though we're gonna update it. But today we'll be beginning the Undying with Dwayne. What was his full name? Dwayne Dantes? Peak once again. Some people said it's good. Some people say it's bad. I don't know, man. I'm hearing majority of excitement right now. So now I'm getting a little pumped. I was originally a little... I heard little birds chirps that saying volume 4 was gonna be a little bit bad and slow and just it was gonna be short. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's really good and it's like twice as long. So we're starting with our new marionettist. Dwayne, I was about to say Dwayne Johnson. I was thinking of The Rock. I'm sorry. Dwayne Dantes. It's good? All right, let's get right into it. So just quick appreciation to you guys. Thank you guys. We went up like 1,000 subs in the last month. We had like 600 people watching concurrently. Close to 600. Before the episodes came out, and honestly, it was an amazing. It was an amazing journey. It is an amazing journey. It was an amazing experience, and I'm glad to be able to read this with you guys. And I know I stall here and there, and I know from time to time I take breaks where it's not as long, but I apologize for that. It's a timing thing. But I love being able to spend time with you guys and read this beautiful series. Soon 3,200. It's going up fast. I know. It's been going up quick. That's like we've gone up 180 subs since I thought it was the misses. It's a spam call. We've gone up that much. We've passed 3,000 since, for me, Friday, and it's Tuesday. Come on, I know. Make guesses what's gonna happen this volume. Okay, somebody's gonna die. Somebody dies this volume that we care about, and not only does somebody we care about die this volume, I feel like Klein is gonna die this volume because he's called Undying. I know he's not gonna switch to Undying. No, because he needs to hit Bizarre Sorcerer, and then once he hits Bizarre Sorcerer, then he can switch after he gets that. But I think that's what's gonna happen. I think somebody we know dies, and then he dies, and he comes back after him being all confident, saying, "Oh, I have like 2-3 more attempts." Volume 4 is funny. All right, not gonna lie. I'm gonna stop stalling. We're gonna jump right into it after I update this thumbsnipe. Hold up. Chapter 733. Wow, it feels like it's been a while, man, since I've said that. Chapter 733 is called The Return. Okay, hopefully we don't mess up too many words on our first day back. So knock on wood, you know. Here we go. Under a the music is really low. Let me raise it. Under a persistent rain mingled with the thin fog and rows of the street lamps tried their hardest to shine through the mists. The occasional horse carriage that proceeded down the streets was a common evening sight in Backland. I almost butchered that. I think I did. I apologize. Apart from these, Klein noticed a few gratifying changes while standing behind the window ring. He's back. A crisp smell echoed in the air as two wheeled mechanical devices rushed down the side of the street to a bike to the other end of the street. Its frame was black in color with some parts revealing grayish white steel. It's a bike. Under the illumination of the street lamps and rain, it sparked with a beauty of metal. On this device sat a man dressed in a postman's uniform. He kept pedaling with his legs. Holy shit, his bike. Dude, he's gonna make so much more money. He kept pedaling with his legs, apparently using a great deal of strength. Behind him was a wooden box that had been painted in green. It's been promoted very well. The white-shirted, black-vested, mature-looking client signed inwardly when he saw this scene. In a few hours with the return to Backland, he noticed many similar mechanical devices, and they were none other than the bicycles that he had promoted and invested in. You know what's funny? In the video game screenshots, they showed people riding on bikes. So I'm like, okay, so the bikes ended up becoming a thing in Backland. That was a Volume 4 spoiler that we saw months ago in the artwork. And it was not a spoiler, but I found that funny. From the newspapers, Klein knew that Backland Bike Company had done tons of advertisements. They even held a bicycle competition in boroughs. Like, they have bike competitions? So they have their own Backland F1 tournaments. Bicycle competitions in boroughs like Sherwood and Backland Bridge, so as to garner the attention of others. Apart from that, they also actively promoted it to the government departments such as the Postal Services and the Police Department. The results were said to be pretty good. Their pricing strategy had followed Klein's original suggestion, avoiding the middle upper class who often uses horse carriages. Instead, they aimed their target target audience at those with weekly salaries of £1 10 soles and above, such as technical workers, students with a decent family background, and clerical employees that often needed to travel outside. And therefore, a bike worth £3 to £5 was affordable for the people in this demographic if they bit the bullet a little. And at the same time, they couldn't flaunt for the masses who had the incomes that were lower than them. The current issue is that backland often rains. It's difficult to hold an umbrella while riding a bicycle. The next step should be a raincoat. Client retract. They don't have raincoats. I never thought about that. The next step should be a raincoat. Client retracted his gaze, shook his head, and chuckled. The place he stayed at was a high-end hotel in the Hilton Borough. It cost him 10 soldi a night, making him feel quite the pinch. However, to match his persona, all he could do was bite the bullet and put up with it. His idea... Oh, so this is his new persona. That's true. I almost forgot. You guys can't hear the music, huh? So his idea as Dwayne Dantes was that he was a believer of the Evernight Goddess and a mysterious tycoon that came from Desi Bay. He sold his original lands and mines, planning to seek out brand new opportunities in Backland. He had a certain level of interest in attaining the aristocratic title, but he didn't have the abundant wealth to do so. He had to first expand his social circles and begin making some investments. The benefits of this identity was that it was clearly different from the characters Klein had previously acted as. I'm gonna miss Skirman Sparrow. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna miss German Sparrow. So Dwayne better live up. Dwayne better live up to German, man. That's all I'm gonna say, because I really like German. German was an amazing character. All right. Shh, let me find my place. It was a convenient for Klein to continue investigations into the Great Smog of Backland while gathering intel before he made detailed plans to steal the Antigonus family notebook. Wait, the benefits... I skipped a sentence. The benefit of this identity was that it was clearly different from the character Klein had previously acted as. It allowed him to very naturally interact with people from the middle upper class, especially members of the military officers club of the Backland Diocese Bishop of the Church of the Evernight Goddess. It made it convenient for Klein to continue his investigations into the Great Small of Backland while gathering intel before he made the detailed plans to steal the Antigonus family notebook. I can't believe we're gonna steal the book, man. There were obvious, well, I don't know if we steal it. He wants to steal it. There were obvious disadvantages as well, such as mysterious tycoons would definitely catch the notice of the Nighthawks and Mandated Punchers, so there was a certain level of background checks that he would have to undergo. According to Klein's experience, such as the investigation would be done by the official Beyonder organizations under the premise that nothing important had happened. It could also be handed over to the police department, but in summary, not too much effort will be put into it so as to be considered a routine check. Therefore, Klein, who was considered quite an expert at disguise, had prepared a second layer to his identity as Dwayne Dantes to his designs so as to deal with the background inspections. The second layer to his identity was that Dwayne Dantes was a person who had adventured in the southern continent's east and west bottom for some particular reason. He had used a nickname, and he spent more than 10 years in rather dangerous lands filled with opportunity in order to amass a great deal of wealth. Since the origins of his wealth wasn't overboard, he had to secretly return to Desi Bay, and he forged a new identity. He had planned on beginning a new life in Backland and gradually legalize his wealth. It's such a crazy background that he came up with. It wasn't rare to see such people in Lowen. Their stories were acceptable and imaginable. For an investigation for this identity layer, Klein had left some inconspicuous clues in Content City so as to indirectly reveal the quote-unquote truth. These clues include, but were not limited to, the stubs of his scalped tickets from the East Bottom to the Content City. Habits. How does he come up with this, man? What? He is so smart. For this identity layer, Klein had left some inconspicuous clues in the Content City so as to indirectly reveal the truth. These clues included, but were not limited to, the stubs of his scalp tickets from the East Bottom to the Content City, habits as a result of living southern continent for example periods of times, as well as his wealth of unknown origins. Klein believed that as long as Dwayne Dantes didn't involve himself in any series of Beyonder manners, preparations such as this were enough to fool most routine background inspections. And if he encountered an extremely dedicated official Beyonder who investigated it all the way and was even willing to seek the help of the colleagues from the southern continent, then Dwayne Dantes had a third layer to his identity. It was that he was a cheat who had anti-divination measures to a certain degree. He disguised himself as a mysterious tycoon and spent large amounts of money to invest for his final scam. This identity was enough to get Dwayne Dantes arrested, but the level of attention placed on him wouldn't be too great. This allowed Klein to exit the stage without much trouble. Compared to the first time in Backland, the creation of the three-layered identities show how I've really matured significantly. And true, Klein slowly walked to the middle of the room and he cast his gaze on a full-body mirror in the corner. His reflection had black hair and some strings of gray hair. Wow, he's old. Or older, not old, but older. His eyes were deep, but his expressions had left indelible marks on his face. He was a charming middle-aged man with mature bearing. This design of Dwayne Dante's identity wasn't difficult for the present Klein. However, stealing the Antigonus family notebook from behind St. Samuel Cathedral Chanisgate was practically an impossible task for any external beyonder. Even a king of angels couldn't guarantee success, but Klein's gonna make it work. He has, dude, he's older than me. Chill. Dwayne is low-key a dope. Just from that description alone. Just from that description alone, he is. We went from bounty hunter to DILF. Of course, unlike other Beyonders, Klein had two advantages. First, he was once a Nighthawk. He had quite a good understanding like the eternal procedures that followed, and he knew which matters he could exploit. Therefore, the first solution he eliminated was to become a particular Nighthawk, infiltrate it, and a chance to pass through Chanis Gate. There's a problem that existed in this. Nighthawks weren't able to randomly enter Chanis Gate. Even for the captains and deckons, something had to happen first before they received the corresponding authority. Furthermore, Chanis Gate had its keepers inside. Randomly entering or taking things would result in an attack on him, causing a battle to break out. Klein didn't wish for this theft to result in any deaths or injuries to the members of the Church of the Goddess. After careful consideration, he placed his sights on the keepers. These elders were retired Nighthawks who volunteered to enter Chanis Gate. They were in charge of watching the sealed artifacts, and they were from a different department from the Nighthawks. They entered and exited using the underground passageway through the cathedral, and they never interfered with Nighthawk's work, nor would they be disturbed by the Nighthawks. Perhaps a result of staying behind Chanis Gate for extended periods of time, these keepers all had certain traits. They had cold auras and had deadpan expressions. Their skin was pale, and they resembled monsters from the deep darkness who are on the border of life and death. Klein believed that it wasn't difficult for him to locate his target. Locate his target if he met one. His initial plan was to rent a place in Northborough near St. Samuel Cathedral. He would hire a butler, a valet, a maidservant, a gardener, a chef, and a carriage driver to have a front as a tycoon. Then he would often head to the cathedral to pray piously, participate in mass, donate money, and familiarize himself with the bishops and priests. That's wild, dude. He's gonna do all this just so he can steal the book. During this process, he would work hard to find suspected keepers. He would choose 2 or 3 targets and observe their habits. When the opportunity arises, he would imprison one of them, change into his appearance, or directly possess him, pass through Chanis Gate, and attempt to flip through or take the Antigonus family notebook away. You know what's crazy? He never went inside Chanis Gate in Volume 1. But Chanis Gate would appear, come out, or like the puppet would come out, or like the doll would come out, hand him the piece of quill or whatever it was. No, the piece of paper. Like, we've always been around it, right? Or when he watched it, but he never specifically went inside. For this matter, Klein's second advantage was a terror club. Wait. This was a crude plan that was merely a train of thought. It needed to be perfected according to the intelligence Klein would slowly acquire. For this matter, Klein's second advantage was the terror club. He had assistants in the Church of Evernight Goddess and the Nighthawks would never think of. Furthermore, he can consider extending the recruitment of a Black Diocese Nighthawk or a keeper into the gathering. Klein or Leonard or Crescent Sesamir. It's going to be one of those two. He could then complete the theft through this trader, just like how Emperor Rizzo was used to obtain the Antigonus family notebook by Zartul. I've got to frequently head to the cathedral. Only by doing so can I find a target. Klein faced the mirror and silently nodded. This is just like Ince in Volume 1. No, he was the one that stole the quill. A sequence 5 stealing from the Evernight Church to become a secret sword. No, I remember. That's what he did. He was like the Chanis Gate keeper, and then he just stole the quill and like left. It had to be said that he felt conflicted. If a true Nighthawk or keeper were to betray the church to serve Mr. Full, his first thought was to unleash divine punishment to get rid of this despicable traitor. After exhaling, he gave a self-deprecating laugh. He wore his double-breasted frock coat and hat, walked out of the room, and reached for the streets. With an umbrella, he circled to another street, taking advantage of the distant street lamps and the drizzle. He suddenly changed back into Sherlock Moriarty. Damn, just like that. Damn. Glancing at his wrinkled trousers, Klein stopped the carriage and planned on heading to Isengard Stanton's house in Hilson Bar. I'm glad we're still going to meet old friends. Half an hour later, the somewhat ancient and dark building appeared before Klein's eyes. He had paid too solely for his ride as he walked steadily around the puddles amidst the drizzle that reflected the yellowish light of dusk before coming to the famous detective's doorsteps. Putting away his umbrella, he reached out of the ring of the doorbell and waited for a moment before seeing a man with a wide face open the door. The man had a head of a malt-colored hair, a grayish... That's not him. Grayish blue eyes and high cheekbones. He had the traits of someone from the Lemberger Mason. Is it? Mr. Isengard Stanton's new assistant. He is a new assistant? Mr. Isengard Stanton's new assistant, someone from the Church of the God of Knowledge and Wisdom. Klein took off his hat and said with a smile, "Good evening, is Mr. Isengard Stanton home? I am back from my 1-week trip that ended up turning into like 4 months." Yo, what's up, dude? OG, I am hooked on F1. I've been watching that documentary, by the way. Is good, OG. You're the only one I know that watches this right now. He just had his dinner after a busy day at work. The malt-colored lad replied politely, "May I know who you are?" Klein chortled and said, "Tell the good detective that a friend of his has returned from his vacation." The young man was taken aback as he blurted out, "Mr. Sherlock Moriarty!" Oh, he recognized him? No way. All right, old friends, next chapter. Let's keep reading. This is a good reunion. I'm loving it already. All right, chapter 734 is called Old Friends. You actually know me. This means, so Isengard is always high praising him, right? You actually know me. This means that Mr. Isengard Stanton often mentions me as a friend, or does it mean that the Church of the God of Knowledge and Wisdom know that I was embroiled in the great smog of Backland? Klein smiled as he nodded in an unperturbed manner. Yes, I'm Sherlock Moriarty. The grayish, blue-eyed lad immediately gave way as he warmly gestured him in. I did timestamps, right? Yeah, we're good. Gestured him. Mr. Stanton has been worried about you all this time. He was afraid that you met with trouble. He can now be at peace. Klein handed him his umbrella and took off his hat and coat while walking in. At this moment, Isengard Stanton, who had sensed something, had put down his papers and pipes, and he left his reclining chair to take a look. Oh my Sherlock, you're finally back. It's been so long, my friend. The thin Isengard with grayed sides revealed a smile as he came over with welcoming arms in an attempt to give him a great hug. Klein wasn't used to such a custom, so he forced himself to reciprocate it as well. It's crazy. We haven't seen this man since like volume 2. I am shocked Stanton or Isengard was this worried about him. Well, he said he was going to be away for like a week or 2, and then it turned into like 4 or 5 months, right? Mr. Stanton, this isn't something a believer of wisdom would do. Wait, Klein, wait. Oh my Sherlock, you're finally back. It's been so long, my friend. The thin Isengard Stanton with grayish sides revealed a smile as he came over with welcoming arms and attempted to give him a great hug. Klein wasn't used to such a custom, so he forced himself to reciprocate it and smile. Mr. Stanton, this isn't something a believer of wisdom would do. The bishops and priests of the great knowledge and wisdom would hide their pride. Wisdom had their pride, and they seldom gave greeting hugs. But in fact, apart from the boorish Phasic Empire and the liberal Intis Kingdom, such a manner of etiquette was rare in other countries and regions. It only happened among very familiar friends. Aw, he's so fucking dead this volume. No shot. The first friend is the one that dies and the undying. Isengard dies. Isengard's dead this volume. It has to be it. Isengard took 2 steps back and chuckled. No, Sherlock, this is too much of a good reunion. Every time it gets too happy, it ends bad. No, Sherlock, we're never stingy with respect and friendliness towards intelligent friends. In my heart, you're one of the top 5 detectives in all of Backland. I like that. Klein smiled inwardly as retorted in jest. So you're one of the top 3 detectives. He still puts him over him. To be praised as having true wisdom by Sequence 7 believer, the God of knowledge and wisdom, was really delighting. I wish that you share the same thoughts as myself. Isengard skillfully and gently replied. Then he invited him to the living room and to the sofa. He leaned into the reclining chair and picked up his pipe. With a deep breath, he exhaled. I'm very happy that nothing bad happened to you. You seem especially fine, both in body and mind. How was it? Desi Bay fun? Oh, that's true. He still doesn't know. Klein had already prepared an excuse as he calmly smiled. In fact, I didn't go to Desi Bay. I ended up going to Constant. I was previously embroiled in some trouble in Backland, so I can only find a place to hide. Sherlock Moriarty was a gentleman from the Mid-Sea Shire who had a slight accent. It was a very normal choice to return to his hometown after causing trouble. Constant was Mid-Sea Shire's capital. I know. Isengard replied heavily. He did inquire about the trouble which Sherlock had involved himself in. Instead, he said with a smile, in short, welcome back to Backland. Come to me if you need any help. Klein didn't stand on ceremony. He immediately said, the purpose of my visit was first because it really has been a while since we last met. And second, I wish that you can sell my shares in Backland Bike Company on my behalf. All the documents are in place and there's no need to carry out any other procedures. In order to act a mysterious tycoon and to repay Miss Messenger with the 10,000 gold coins, not only did he plan on selling items he had little use for, but he also planned on letting go of the last 10% of his shares in Backland Bike Company? Really? After all, Sherlock Moriarty wasn't able to appear in legitimate fashion for a long period of time. Are you really going to sell it? Isengard stroked his pipe and said, although I've never been a businessman, I can tell that the bike is a product that's of great value and something that can be promoted on a large scale. Its commercial future is like newly risen sun and it has yet to reach its limits. You'll be losing plenty of money by selling it now. That's why a buyer will be very willing to raise the price significantly because of this expected value. Klein chuckled. I believe the people who can tell the value of the bike and its future aren't in the minority. And Fremis and Lepard are definitely unwilling to reduce any part of their holdings at this stage. They shouldn't be a problem selling my 10% share at twice or thrice the normal price. Isengard, the price of shares isn't about the present, but also its future. To illustrate an alluring story for the buyer and investor and drawing a beautiful future is very necessary. Of course, the value of the future of the bike don't require additional input from me. Anyone with any business sense can tell. The only problem stems in the rubber production. Klein silently added inwardly. Oh yeah. The price of shares isn't about present, but also about its future. Isengard softly repeated Klein's words, and a moment he sincerely sighed, Sherlock, perhaps you should be involved in the business world. However, there will always be many accidents present. To dare to take risks is equivalent to chivalry in business. Oh, well, I admit that I've recently been in dire need of large sums of cash. Klein replied with a smile. Isengard picked up his pipe and gave it a satisfactory suck. You've convinced me. I will specifically hire a lawyer and accountant to confirm the market value of the Backland Bike Company. Then I'll add on an estimate of the expected profits and sell the 10% of yours. The corresponding fees and tax will be deducted from the amount received. Oh, how should I contact you? It seems like your rental contract from the house at Mint Street has lapsed. Oh, yeah, he can't go back. Stay with me. Klein obviously wouldn't expose his present identity. He said, having prepared it, you can post news on the Tussock Times, Backland Daily Tribune, and other newspapers at the sales of the shares to make more people know. Only when there's competition will there be better prices negotiations. When it's sold, you can publish a notice to indicate that the deal has been closed and the further inquiries won't be entertained. And when I see that notice, I'll come visit you. Isengard was no stranger when it came to communicating over published notices in the newspaper. Because he was Eye of Wisdom. He nodded and said, no problem. Of course, all expenses will be deduced from the final sum received. With his main goal accomplished, Klein stood and reached out his hand. Thank you for your help, Isengard. I need to leave. We can talk in the future. Isengard didn't hold him back and sent him straight out the door. Klein circled to a nearby street and took a carriage to the Braveheart's Bar. As he admired Braveheart's Bar, night's view in the drizzle, he planned on re-establishing all the news and resource channels with Sherlock Moriarty used to have. After entering the noisy bar, he didn't head for the bar counter to order some beer and make inquiries. Instead, he circled around the boxing ring in preparation to leave so that he could wait for Miss Sharon to appear on the carriage outside. At this moment, the door to a billiard room creaked open. Ian, with an old Ian, we haven't seen him in a while. Ian, with an old coat, walked out with newspapers in hand. His red eyes did a curiously sweep when he suddenly noticed a familiar figure. He gaped his mouth, but he didn't say his name. He greeted in pleasant surprise. Good evening, sir. Is there anything I can help you with? Not for now. I'm only here to visit an old friend. Klein smiled warmly. Aw. As he spoke, he noticed the papers in Ian's hands with news at sea. On it was a striking headline. Shocking crazy adventurer made a fugitive. German? Crazy adventurer. Klein intuitively believed that it had nothing to do with him. I don't know about that. Ian noticed his gaze and raised the newspapers with a smile. This is one of the rare up-to-date reports of the news at sea because the bounties have already appeared in various places. Oh, what's his bounty? The crazy adventurer Germanspur plotted to bring harm to the city of generosity, and he had been proven to be a member of a cult. What the? In this incident, thanks to the Church of Storms and military, no one from Bayham was injured, but Admiral of Blood Center, who was involved in the matter, vanished as a result. It's suspected that he had been killed by German Sparrow. What is his bounty? No shot it's lower than this, right? Guess how much of a bounty there are. No shot, I just read that. Guess how much of a bounty they are offering for German Sparrow? 50,000 pounds. He should really turn himself in. It has exceeded Admiral Blood's, and it's almost reached that of Admiral Hill's. 50,000 pounds. Klein's heart stirred. He calmed the palpitations in his heart as he replied with a smile. Unfortunately, few people can claim such a bounty. He pointed at the bar's entrance and said, I'll come to look for you again when I have the time. All right, Ian didn't ask further as he mentioned in passing. Is Mr. White from the Harvest Church your friend? The fellow Emlyn is finally willing to get out of the house. For those primordial moon believers, Klein nodded. That's right. After seeing that he squeezed through the crowd and pushed open the door to leave the Braveheart's Bar. Dude, 50k aura? I think it's going to go up the longer it takes for him to turn in his own bounty. I'll be honest. After getting onto a rental carriage, Klein cast his gaze outside, waiting for Miss Sharon's appearance. She's back. Already in chapter 2? Of course, he wasn't certain that she was here. Months had passed, so it was very possible that the lady and Merrick had switched their area of activity. Suddenly, Klein's spiritual perception was triggered as he turned to look out the window. On the glass, which could reflect the night view, a young lady in a black bonnet. And, oh, she is so dead this volume. I ship him so hard. We're reading The Undying. She's dead. A young lady in a black bonnet and gothic-styled black dress clearly appeared. And then when she reaches sequence form and becomes a puppet, Klein is like, you know what? Wouldn't it be ironic if I make you my marionette? Yo, take care. Have a good day. Don't worry. We'll have the VODs up right away. I hope that doesn't happen, though. I hope that's just crazy-ass speculation and it doesn't happen. Turning his head, Klein saw Miss Sharon sitting opposite him. Her pale blonde hair, blue eyes, and pale expression didn't seem any different from before. Good evening, Klein, who no longer needed to act as Gerben Sparrow, greeted first. He's back to his old self. Sharon got up a little and courtesied. I can't read that word, but I know what it is. Like when you bow. Realizing that she might have read news at sea, he was momentarily unable to find a topic for small talk. He cleared his throat and directly said, I killed Sennar. Okay, Sharon nodded slightly, indicating that she was aware. Klein smiled as he continued. If Merrick still needs the beyond characteristics of a Wraith, he can wait and prepare the money needed. Once I find a replacement, I'll sell Sennar to him. Oh, because he's a marionette. Yay. Okay. I'll sell Sennar to him. Sharon didn't ask what replacement meant as she replied, after seeing the pieces of news, he had been awaiting your return. Very good, Klein chuckled. He reached out his collar, pulled out a silver necklace, and said, Senior's lucky item. You should know about it, right? Sharon tersely answered as she waited for Klein to continue. I plan to sell either this or the biological poison bottle. Would you or people from your circle be interested? Klein took the initiative to ask. Curtsied. I'm sorry. Sherlock the Rizzler? Yo, what's up, back? Welcome back, Cammy. I mean, look, dude, Klein's back. He's back in Backland. Oh, that was the end of the chapter. Oh, okay. Next chapter, 735. The recording paused, and it only has like 10 minutes of recording of this chapter. So I think 5 minutes are missing. So I don't know if we're missing the part where Sherrick and Merrick returned, and I'm over here thinking that Sharon dies because we're reading The Undying. So I do apologize for that. How much we read? We're gonna read for like 2 hours. But point is, if anything is missing from the VOD, we'll have the live stream up. We'll just look at the data's uploaded and just look for the live stream on that date. Apologies. I don't know why that happened. Well, it's our first day back in the week, so I guess it was a little scuffed. Apology. All right, next chapter, chapter 735, is called Another Visit. Sharon was silent for 2 seconds before she said, I'll help ask. It means you need to consider it. That's right. The negative effects of the scales of luck does not leave one hesitant. However, biological poison bottle is really compatible with a Wraith. If it wasn't because I'm short of money and how it lowers my immunity, making me easily fall sick, I wouldn't be willing to sell it. Yeah, I feel like he should keep it. I feel like he'll get a new characteristic down the road that he can sell. If it wasn't because... Well, wait. It's rather effective in an ambush. Klein vaguely grasped Sharon's intentions as he stuffed the silver necklace back into his collar. He asked after some thought, which power of a high-sequence prisoner pathway beyond or makes all surrounding lifeless items attack one's target? Puppet. Oh, no shot. So she can just use it as a... main ingredient. If the power of a sequence 4 puppet, turning themselves into a lifeless puppet so that they are able to control all lifeless objects to a certain range, advancing further, will they be able to directly influence the mystical items of an enemy? Klein nodded in enlightenment and asked, then do you know that demigod? He immediately described in detail the appearance of the elder who had attacked him outside Bayam, Shanks. Never mind. What? No, never mind. I thought the lucky necklace was gonna be the main characteristic for her to become a puppet. My bad. Shanks, Sharon calmly said a name. I actually wish that you could share with me more about him. Klein knows Miss Sharon's style and said with an exasperated smile. Then do you know Zatwen? He was the mentor of the naturism sex leader in Nararvi Island. That demigod who is pursuing us, Sharon answered without hiding anything or emotions like a doll. Huh? Bro is lost? No, I'm not lost. I thought he was gonna, because I thought that's what was really revealed right there. Like, what will control it? But no, it's not. Never mind. Yeah, and I was like, wait, does that imply he's gonna sell the necklace to her, and then she uses that as the main ingredient to hit Puppet? But no, that's not it. No, the luck necklace is sequence 5 winner, I'm pretty sure. Okay, that's why it was confusing me. But then they start talking about Shanks, and I'm like, oh wait, okay, hold up, I'm wrong. No, I know. Once they start talking about Shanks, I'm like, okay, it's not the necklace. No, thank you, Ascent, thank you. Puppet Sharon, would you tell me more? Then do you know Zatwen? He was the mentor of the naturism sex leader in Nararvi Island, the demigod who was pursuing us. Sharon answered without hiding anything or any emotions like a doll. That's the one who made me feel like the chairs, tables, and curtains wished to kill me. What a coincidence. However, it wasn't arranged. It just proves that as a secret organization, the Rose School of Thought, with a history of over 1,000 years, doesn't have that many demigods. Perhaps it has about the same number as the Aurora, the Aurora Order? The number of saint numbers around 5, and the number of angels and grade 0 sealed artifacts number about 2 to 3. Of course, this is also because they were suppressed by the 7 major churches, reducing their headquarters to colonies. At the height of their powers, they might have had far more than these. Klein thought and asked again, then do you know the Rose School of Thought's member that is able to make an entire mountain tremble with just one arm? He planned on describing the arm's traits, but he realized that he hadn't dared to look straight at it, so he technically doesn't even know how to describe it. Sharon listened quietly as her eyes started around as though they came to life. She asked with a clear voice, what did you encounter? I don't know, man. A saint and an angel as well as a sea king. He came across so much. a saint, an angel, as well as Sea King, an Aurora Order demigod, a monster byproduct from the numinous Episcopate's artificial death. Klein silently made his self-deprecating comment as he said with a worried smile, I got into the bad side of the Mother Tree of Desire, and I suffered an ambush from the Rose School of Thought. Thankfully, I was in Bayam, aligned to Church of Storms and the Kingdom's military to take action. I saw threw out an item corrected by the True Creator's aura, as well as something related to the numinous Episcopate. In short, it was chaos, and I took the opportunity to escape. That was a pretty good chapter, though, by the way. Chaos. He replied frankly, apart from hiding the existence of Miss Messenger and Mr. Zick, as for the matter of the True Creator, he believed that Miss Sharon had long known that he was infected by the ravings. This could be explained by timely psychological intervention or psychiatric treatment. Mother Tree of Desire, Sharon murmured the name as a rare emotional upheaval slowly appeared in her eyes. Klein didn't have the interpretation abilities of a spectator, and he was unable to tell that what was exactly on Sharon's mind. He could only sense that she felt a little fear and loathing. Sharon quickly restrained her abnormal reactions, turned back into an extremely exquisite doll. She looked at Sherlock Moriarty and said, "You are very lucky and very mysterious." Which is why I love you. I don't know. Sharon is showing shock, something really rare. Yeah, no, she's always like very stoic, still face. Klein smiled without a word, neither lying nor explaining. Look at that. Look at that. Sharon didn't. I don't even know how I'm muted. No shit. What was the last thing I read? I'll continue. Bro, I literally went to the Shadow Realm. You guys, okay, you guys just weren't a high enough sequence that you guys just didn't hear anything. So you know what? You guys got to level up your sequence, okay? After Sharon showed, okay, after Sharon. No, I was just lowering the volume because I see my thing hitting red. Wow, I was muted for like 25% of a page. Sharon quickly restrained her abnormal reaction, turning back an extremely exquisite doll. She looked at Sherlock Moriarty and said, "You are very lucky and very mysterious." Klein smiled without a word, neither lying nor explaining. Look at that. Mysterious. Almost like a Lord of Mysterious. Imagine it's not Lord of Mysteries, it's Lord of Mysterious. Klein smiled without a word, neither lying nor explaining. Sharon did inquire and said, "You might have met Sua. He is an abomination born 922 years ago and claims to be the son of Chain God. He is also the present leader of the Rose School of Thought. No way the Rose School of Thought sent its leader and demigods to deal with me. I'm just a mere Sequence 5. If not for the Orange Light Hilarian's warning, I might have already been captured by the Rose School of Thought." Client felt a chill run down his back again as he asked, "Is abomination?" Crunchyroll subs be like, fear and loathing. I didn't say that. You guys said that. I might have already been captured by the Rose School of Thought. Klein felt a chill run down his back again as he asked, "Is Abomination the name of the prisoner pathway Sequence 2 or Sequence 1? Probably." Sharon didn't give an affirmative answer. At this moment, without waiting for Klein's response, she said, "William Street has been destroyed." Klein, oh, are we going to see what happened? On my end, it says we're still excellent, so I'm not sure what the lag is. That's why Sua is a fraud, and Angel should never fail to kill a Sequence 5. It's embarrassing. Low key, now that I think about it, it probably is embarrassing. Like, how the hell could someone that high not be able to kill a Sequence 5? A mere Sequence 5, you know? But it's Klein, so you know what? He is pretty lucky. Probably Sharon didn't give an affirmative answer. At this moment, while waiting for Klein to respond, she said, "William Street has been destroyed." Klein had pondered what kind of reaction he would have when Miss Sharon raised the topic, so he mainly frowned. By who? When did it happen? The Nighthawks and Machinery Hive Mind about 2 months ago. Sharon had clearly gathered the corresponding intelligence. Klein nodded solemnly, and after some deep thoughts, "Perhaps we've neglected something. That evil spirit didn't need us to resurrect it. It was still controlling Barrett Pound. Could it be something happened to that gentleman, incurring notice for the Nighthawks and Machinery Hive Minds?" Klein offered a guess filled with half-truths without utmost confidence. Sharon nodded. Barrett, oh, he's dead? Wait, you will remind me? Abomination is what Katlia muttered when Miss Messenger delivered mail to Frank Lee? Oh. She called her Abomination? Oh, I don't remember that. I guess that's the bad part of taking like a week off sometimes between volumes. Oh, so she's at least Abomination. What the fuck? The messenger must be at least sequence 2 or 1 if she's an alleged Abomination but still looks like a Wraith. Whoa, okay. All right, food for thought. Okay, the Nighthawks and Shireen Hive Mind about 2 months ago, Sharon had clearly gathered the corresponding intelligence. Klein nodded solemnly, and after some deep thought, said, "Perhaps we've neglected something. That evil spirit didn't need us to resurrect it. It's still controlling Baronet Pound. Could it be that something happened to that gentleman?" Incurring notices the Nighthawks and Shireen Hive Mind, Klein offered a guess filled with half-truths without utmost confidence. Sharon nodded. Baronet Pound died during one of his revelries. That's it. That's the end of the illicit tutor final bloodline. Klein thought and said, "How's the situation with William Street at the moment?" Okay. Some high-rise buildings are being built. Sharon described without much of an expression. People monitored it in secret at the beginning, but the surveillance decreased with time, diminishing to 0 early last month. Klein pondered for a few seconds and said, "Have you gone down to explore it?" Sharon's eye swept his face. "No. This is her remembering our unwritten agreement to explore it together because we found it together. What a noble-hearted lady. The Rose School of Thought's temperance fraction is infinitely times better than the indulgence factions." Klein probed, "Shall we get going now?" "All right." Sharon succinctly expressed her stance. Klein immediately instructed the carriage driver, and he changed the destination to William Street at the intersection of the Westboro and Empressboro. Along the way, he casually mentioned what he heard and saw at sea, as well as the experiences that didn't involve his secrets. Although Sharon didn't answer him, she listened attentively, seemingly interested. This made Klein recall the time when he first got to know her and Miss Bodyguard. She sat on a glittering high-back chair in an Oriole windows glass. Her right hand held her cheek as she seriously listened to the conversation with Ian. She had great potential in being a spectator. The carriage passed through the silent streets and the drizzle before finally arriving near William Street. "A date with Miss Sharon? Let's go." It's not... Wait, hold up. It's not an official date. All right, chill. It is not an... What DSV said wrong, what Katlia said was Ancient Bane. Oh, was it? So Ancient Bane is probably something before Abomination. Oh, so it might be like sequence 3 or 2. If Abomination would be what? Not Abomination? Okay, so if Abomination is implied to be 1 or 2, then Ancient Bane might be implied, not Puppet because that's 4. It might be implied to be 3, and if Abomination is 1, then maybe 2. Okay, all right. Thank you, Romero. Good catch, dude. Thank you guys. Okay, unofficial, official date. Here we go. Some high-rise buildings are being built. Sharon described without much of an expression. People monitored it in secret at the beginning, but the surveillance decreased with time, diminishing to 0 early last month. Klein pondered for a few seconds and said, "Have you gone down to explore it?" Sharon's eyes swept his face. "No. This is her remembering our unwritten agreement to explore it together because we found it together. What a noble-hearted lady." Ooh, she's in love. Maybe. I'm trying to force a ship here. Hold up. I apologize. The Rose School of Thought's temperance factions is infinitely times better than the indulgence factions. Klein pondered, Shall we go now?" "All right." Sharon succinctly expressed her stance. Klein immediately instructed the carriage driver, and he changed the destination to William Street at the intersection of Westboro and Empressboro. Along the way, he casually mentioned what he heard and saw at sea, as well as the experiences that didn't involve his secrets. Although Sharon didn't answer him, she listened attentively and seemingly interested. This made Klein recall the time when he first got to know her as Miss Bodyguard. Oh, he's reminiscing. She sat on the glittering high-back chair in the Oriole windows glass. His right hand held her cheek as she seriously listened to his conversation with Ian. She had great potential in being a spectator. The carriage passed through the silent streets and drizzle before finally arriving near William Street. Without approaching the area, Klein and Sharon discovered the area had become a huge worksite. After circling to the region that matched the underground ruins, they stood behind a huge tree with a lush canopy. Klein said to Sharon, who wasn't drenched by the rain despite not holding an umbrella, "Let's head down." Whoa. You're going to wait under the rain? As the rain fell, they passed through Sharon's blonde hair and body before hitting the ground. All right, Sharon didn't ask how Sherlock Mariah was planning on heading down with her. Klein reached his hand into his pocket and easily removed the wall of spirituality, and he opened the iron cigar case. Besides him, the figure suddenly appeared. It was none other than Admiral Blood Senor, who wore a dark... That's so crazy. He just takes him out like that. He just takes his marionette out like that. Klein reached into his hand, into his pocket, and easily removed the wall of spirituality, and he opened the iron cigar case. Besides him, a figure suddenly appeared. It was none other than Admiral Blood Senor, who wore a dark red coat and an old triangular hat. He will head down in my stead, Klein said with a smile. Immediately following that, he controlled his marionette in a composed manner. Senor immediately pressed his hand to his chest and bowed at Sharon. Good evening, I'm on to work with you. Sharon swept her gaze across Klein and Senor, and without a word, her body sank into the soul. Miss Sharon seemed to detest Senor quite significantly. Klein curled his lips and made Admiral Blood rapidly turn into Rafe and Sink. Ah, dude. I think she's actually going to become Klein's new marionette this volume, man. I'm thinking of some crazy, like, poetic tragedy coming at the end of the finale. I'll talk about it right now. I can like, feel it, man. Oh, I'm scared. Miss Sharon seemed to detest Sinner quite significantly. Klein curled his lips and made Admiral Blood rapidly turn into Rafe and Sink. As for him, he leaned onto a tree, half closed his eyes as he seriously controlled the marionette. There wasn't anyone around him. The drizzle was light and the streetlights dim. Slowly, Klein found the feeling of being a marionettist. His vision and Sennor's vision overlapped with one another as he saw black, brown soil, squirming worms, and miscellaneous atoms in between the rocks. Ew. As they passed through the layers of obstacles, they arrived at the region where the room once was. The doomed ceiling was collapsed and the stone columns had snapped. The area was filled with soil and rubble, looking like it once was. Such a scene made Klein believe that the humanoid statues of the 6 deities have been completely destroyed. To his joy, the location that was relatively close to the room which sealed the evil spirit, this meant that he didn't need to worry about any subsequent exploration would exceed the 100-meter range from the control of his marionette. I'm sorry. Are we going to the missing door that we weren't able to get to in Volume 2? Like past the 6 figures? Amidst the smells of the soil and rot, they soon entered the previously menacing room. However, between the rubble and the soil, there were only a few signs of crushed bone and rotting clothes. The dark golden and deep blue light before had all vanished. The beyond characteristics had been taken away by the Nighthawks and Machinery Hive Mind. Sonora expressed twitch as it perfectly reflected Klein's mood. Sharon turned around in a dark, solid environment and gently shook her head. They didn't send anyone in. There are no traces of living creatures existing in here. That's right, if a living person had entered and exited this room over the past half year, a Wraith should be able to sense it. Besides, the deity statues obviously cannot be seen by the Nighthawks and Machinery Hive Mind. Where did those beyond our characteristics go? As Klein frowned, Sinar had a similar reaction. Could it be that the evil spirit wasn't completely obliterated? It had long escaped. Klein thought about it when it suddenly came to an alarming conclusion. He held back his emotions and made Sinner pass through the soul and rubble-filled room with Sharon and arrived at the spot where the bloody door previously stood, and at that moment only a few splinters proved that it existed before. After proceeding forward for a few meters, the two truly entered the room where the evil spirit was sealed. Damn, already. It had likewise been destroyed and buried. Klein used Sinor's body and eyes to look for clues as he flew about. There should be a black chair here. Sharon stopped and pointed to the splinters. It's a black high back chair here. Sharon stopped and pointed at the splinters above the 2 rocks. Klein instantly recalled the scene he had once again seen in his dream. The young man suspected of being Medici had sat on a high back chair, his head dropped low as though dead. Sharon didn't pause. She continued proceeding in a composed soil and searched for any traces. Suddenly she spoke again. There should be one here, another one, a second black high chair. Klein floated over in surprise. A second chair. I forgot about this chair. There's 2 chairs? Wait, no, that was mentioned in Volume 2. He found it strange that there was 2 chairs for, like, royalty. Look, man, I can see some crazy poetic shit happening where, like, knowing this series, I feel like there might come a point where there is something far worse than death, right? Like, where death is, like, the easy answer. So I feel like there'll be a point where, like, this outcome is far worse than death, and then Sharon looks at Klein like, hey, I'd rather you turn me into a marionette than me go down this life. Yes, like madness, for example. Thank you. Like, maybe if she's gonna hear the mad ravings, or at one point she's gonna lose control, like, because she's following her creed, right? Like, what was it? Like, resist and suppress or whatever. Like, maybe something happens down the line where something is far worse than death and she doesn't want to leave that life, so she looks at Klein and she's like, turn me into a marionette before it's too late. And low-key, that would be some poetic ass shit for the volume called Undying. And because I'm starting to fall in love with Sharon's character because she's opening up more, and I can feel it. Cuttlefish, man. I can see what he's doing. I can see it, bro, and I'm not liking it. Well, I like it, but I'm not going to like the eventual outcome if that happens, unless they live happily ever after. But the more you read, the more likely there is to be a happily forever after. Kicking, I'll just leave it there, man. Like, it has been forewritten, you know, it has been foretold. It's like, and therefore it's already happening. We also found out about the Tudor Turnset United Empire. Oh yeah, it was the 3 kingdoms were united. Well, no, Tudor and Tuniset. Was it the 2 of them united? I thought it was the 3 empires that were working alongside each other. No? Well, here, let me pause this. Let me do my timestamp and let's keep reading. Hold up, before we read it. If it's 2 chairs, it's probably because it was both. Yeah, those 2 were united for a whole. Okay, the 2 were... So that implies the 2 chairs. One for them and one for the other. We also know that they were once part of the Solomon Empire. And that was from the 3 alliance. And if it's from that, I assume that's why this chapter is called Third Alliance. Maybe at some point, they had 3 chairs and then they had to take it down to 2. After Solomon, it was a Tudor Turnset. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Autumn. All right, let's keep reading. Chapter 736. Woo! Damn, look at that. We're already in our 4th chapter. All right, this is the last chapter for the day. No, I'm kidding. Chapter 736 is called Third Chair. Senor, if his ray form passed through the thick soil, I was going to say solely, through the thick soil and rocks under Klein's control, arriving beside Sharon, he saw a damaged armrest, which also systematical patterns buried there, looking rather similar, but also different from the splinters they discovered moments ago. The armrest was in pure black in color. Their patterns exuded a dark red color, as though it was an intersection of iron and blood. Recalling the scenes from his nightmare, Klein determined that this wasn't the high back chair and the entirety suspected to be Medici's salon. This was the second chair. The room that sealed the evil spirit had at least 2 high back chairs. Klein and Sharon didn't say a word as they circled around in different directions to search for other clues. Before long, they discovered the evidence of a third high back chair. It was the leg of a chair, mainly dark red in color with pure black patterns. It was completely different from the other 2 kinds of splinters. Perhaps it's a problem caused by the asymmetrical trait of the 4th epoch. Klein knew Sharon's style, volunteering to speak and saying something even he shouldn't believe. In the nightmare that resulted from the evil spirit's influences, the colors of the high back chair were at the very least uniform. Now Tudor and Turnsen were under... Oh, they were under Solomon. Got it. Thank you. They were under Solomon. Sharon... Dude, OG, man... Thank you, dude. No, man, you guys don't have to, man. Watching is enough. Watching and helping the channel grow, that's more than enough, man. Thank you, dude. And the nightmare that resulted from the evil spirit's influence, the colors of a high black chair were at the very... Dude, man, it's crazy. I find it, like... I'm not used to the whole, like, donation thing. Like, I find it... I find that so, like... I don't know what's the word. Unfamiliar? Like, it feels so foreign to me, like, the whole idea behind it. Like, it's so new. I can't respond to the super chat. Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. Because I know there's some mobile features. It's humbling. That is. But, it still feels, like, weird and, like, not weird. It feels different. Like, I'm not used to that. But, dude, it's humbling, man. Thank you, guys. Perhaps it's a problem caused by... But, like, dude, if you guys can't... Don't do it, please. Like, really. Perhaps it's a problem caused by the asymmetrical trait for the 4th epoch. Klein knew Sharon's style, volunteering to speak and saying something even he couldn't believe. In the nightmare that resulted from the evil spirit's influences, the color of the high back chairs were at the very least uniform. Sharon shook her head slightly. 3 has more of a ritualistic feel. Watching, donating, and working for the channel. Thank you, guys. Watching, donating, and working for the channel. Thank you, OG. She was implying that the... Dude, man, you, Romero D... Ama, you guys are always coming in clutch, man. Thank you guys so much, man. Thank you to all our beautiful mods, man. Thank you. She was implying that innocent victims of the Blood Emperor Elisa Tudor weren't just one person back then. Perhaps a ritual has been held in a room that sealed the evil spirit. Klein was taken aback by what he heard as the scene flashed through his mind. In a spacious and dark room, 3 high back chairs of different styles were placed around a particular point in the center, and sitting on each chair was a breathless humanoid creature with a dropping head. Among them included Red Angel Medici. The scene became clearer as Klein instantly connected the 2 additional matters together. The main ingredients of a Sequence 0 Black Emperor's potion is the uniqueness and 2 Sequence 1 Beyonder characteristics, excluding one's own Beyonder characteristic. Excluding one. So it'd be 3. That's why you guys said 3 Sequence 1s. So, is the uniqueness and 2 Sequence 1 Beyonder characteristics, excluding one's own Beyonder characteristics. Blood Emperor Elisa Tudor had apparently forcefully jumped from Black Emperor pathway Sequence 1 Prince of Abomination, abolition, to the red priest sequence 0, which wasn't a neighboring pathway. As a result, he became a half-crazy true god. As his thoughts whirled, Klein quickly had a theory. This room had once held a sequence 0 advancement ritual needed for a true god. How? Of course. How does he figure that out? It's been years. Of course, according to the complicated ritual needed by a Black Emperor, there was only part of the requirement. The pathway that represented war had clearly required the entire continent to be in chaos and at the war to match its scales. And the Blood Emperor Lisa Tudor doesn't have the corresponding Sequence 1 beyond her characteristics, so his Red Priest potion requires 3 Sequence 1 angels or a sealed artifacts to provide him with the beyond her characteristics. There happen to be 3 high back chairs here. So the evil spirit suspected to be Red Angel Medici said that to help it escape its seal, one should find direct descendants of the Sauron, Einhorn, and Medici family, and then extract 10 milliliters of blood and mix them with the holy water. Sauron and Einhorn wield the Hunter pathway and are also angel families of the Red Priest Beyonders. Dude, it's so hard for me to remember this. And are also angel families of the Red Priest Beyonder pathway. They've existed since the 4th epoch to this day. One of them has also already waned, only capable of controlling the spy network and the military faction and interest, while the other remains the royal family of Fasek. Thoughts flashed through Klein's minds as he had a new belief regarding what had happened in the room, as well as the true identity of the evil spirits. On the other 2 high-back chairs sat the ancestors of the Sauron and Einhorn's family, Sequence 1 of angels, together with War Angel Medici, who were very likely possessed the pathways of unique Together with War Angel Medici, who very likely possessed the pathway's uniqueness, all the main ingredients of the Red Priest potions were gathered. And the evil spirit is highly likely to not be pure Red Angel Medici. It might include the remnant psyche and the hatred of the Sauron and Einhorn family ancestors. This place once sacrificed 3 Sequence 1 angels. Before they died, their curses and the rituals itself left effects, making this room become abnormally horrifying, as well as sealing it. Thankfully, I reported this to the churches ahead of time to let them deal with it. Otherwise, we might have died here if we relied on ourselves. It would be the same even if Miss Sharon and I advanced to Sequence 4. We would become food for the evil spirit. No shot. They still wouldn't even be ready to fight the evil spirit. I think that's what I find most crazy. Like, even if they both were at Sequence 4, like, it still wouldn't be enough. Or at their current rank, it still isn't enough. We would become food for the evil spirit. Klein felt a sense of fear and joy. Meanwhile, he began to understand the reason why the Red Priest cart had landed in the hands of the evil spirit. Okay? After all, the former highest-ranking members of the pathway were buried here in the underground ruin. The convergence of the Beyonder characteristics would naturally lure Beyonders to the same pathway over without any deviations. Furthermore, as a result, one said, whatever separates will definitely converge, and whatever converges will definitely separate. Wait. Whatever separates will definitely converge, and whatever converges will definitely separate. After Blood Emperor Lisa Tudor perished, the true god characteristics he possessed, which the Sequence 0 characteristics, will likely split into 4 pieces. One is the uniqueness and abstract items of the concept. One is the uniqueness and abstract item or concept, while the remaining 3 are the 3 sets of Sequence 1 Beyonder characteristics. If it wasn't because of that, the corresponding Beyonder pathways wouldn't have any more Sequence 1s when someone became a god. Could it be that 1 or 2 of these Sequence 1 Beyonder characteristics be attracted entering the sealed room? This is likely one of the reasons why the card of blasphemy was lured over. The more Klein thought, the more he felt that he had previously underestimated the evil spirit. I thought we'd be able to take him now. Clearly not. They lived up to being angels who advanced from conspirators. Standing under the tree, Klein controlled Senor to say, perhaps it really is ritual. It's related to the Blood Emperor Lisa Tudor. The scale and level involved must be great. Sharon added after silently listening, Sauron, Einhorn, Medici. Miss Sharon is also suspecting if these 3 high back chairs once belonged to different angels from the details requested by the evil spirit. Klein thought for a moment and he divulged something through Senor. Blood Emperor Lisa Tudor is likely a true god from the Hunter pathway. The card of blasphemy is represented by the Red Priest. Let me raise the volume. Sharon remained silent for a few seconds as though she came to realization regarding certain matters as she said, that card is gone. She was referring to the Red Priest card which the evil spirit had formerly shown them. Perhaps the evil spirit had long escaped before the Nighthawks and machinery highbands destroying this place. Klein shared his theory. Oh, so he might still be out there. and it had taken away all the Beyonder characteristics in that red priest card. Sharon suddenly surveyed the area and said, it's very crafty. It wouldn't leave behind any obvious clues. That's right. The Beyonder characteristics outside the sealed room are clearly not a sequence 4. To an evil spirit who was once a king of angels, they don't have any alert. Likewise for the red priest card, it can be understood that it took away the things in the room. But why didn't... Sorry, Bert. But why didn't it leave anything? It's like telling others something like, ha ha ha, I fooled you. That was such a believable ha ha ha. Ha, I fooled you. I've already successfully escaped. Catch me if you can. Wait, perhaps that's exactly what it wishes to convey? Okay, now we're playing 3D chess or 4D chess. As Klein thought, he suddenly found it amusing as he made Sonor speak. Not being crafty doesn't necessarily equate to not leaving any clues. The sequence 8 of the 100 Pathways Provoker. At that moment, Red Angel that surfaced in his mind had the picture of Anderson Hood over it. Thoughts on what we learned? It's like... So, first of all, it's confirmed, right? The Red Angel is still out there. The Red Angel Medici, or the alleged spirit of the War Angel Medici, is still out there with a card of blasphemy and all the Beyonder characteristics. But I thought the whole point was the churches teamed up and took him out. Well, I know this is Klein speculating that he left, but it's like, I don't get why there was this whole allegiance. He escaped. So he escaped. So maybe he is going to be the big bad guy of Volume 3. What the fuck? Does this volume end with us trying to face off against an angel? And then we're... Oh, shit. And coincidentally, Medici runs into Klein and Sharon. Sharon is going to die. She becomes a marionette. Klein gets killed. I'm getting really fucking hyped up. Now we learn there's a fucking angel out there. This volume is called The Undying. I've been talking about Beast Tamer, and we know Beast Tamer isn't a thing. I know he's not gonna be. Klein is not being an angel. I know that. There ain't no. I'm gonna keep it a $150. He is gonna die against an angel, but because he is so confident in him having 2 to 3 more revives, he's coming back. And Sharon is gonna be on her deathbed, and the only way to save Sharon is to turn her into a new marionette, and we let go of our current one. I'm getting really excited for this volume. This volume, Easy just wants to see some death. I need to see some misery. I need to cry. I need to feel something, okay? And if there is no tragedy, I am not feeling emotional. Or I am invested, but for me to be emotionally invested, I need tragedy, all right? I need to feel sad and depressed, hype, and I need to go through all the stages of grief. I'll leave it at that. Why do you want her? No, I don't want her to die. But if she dies, I feel like it'd be poetic if she turns into a marionette. I'll leave it at that. Bro, putting someone as a marionette kills him. I know. But like, she dies, but she lives with us in spirit, even though she's dead, right? Which would poetically encapsulate the Undying title behind the volume. I don't know. I'll shut up. Let's keep reading. Blood Emperor Lisa Tudor is likely... I just read this. She was referring to the red piece card, which the evil spirit has forcefully shown them. Perhaps the evil spirit had long escaped before the Nighthawks and Machinery Hive mind destroyed this place. Klein shared this theory, and it had taken all the Beyonders' characteristics of the red priest. Sharon silently surveyed the area and said, "It's very crafty. It wouldn't leave behind any obvious clues." That's right. The Beyonder characteristics outside the sealed room are clearly not at sequence 4. To an evil spirit who was once the king of angels, they don't have any alert. Likewise, the red priest card, it could be the fact that we spoke to a spirit of a freaking kings of angel. That is crazy. Dawson Lista, I still find it crazy. Like, we don't know why. Like, Klein is talking about like how, right? But we don't know why they changed. And now I feel like Elisa Tudor's being very hyped up. Like, there had to be an even bigger threat for Elisa to be tempted or rushed to hit sequence 0 quickly. Like, there had to be some crazy ass reason for Elisa to like, you know what? I need to get to sequence 0 ASAP, be it a corresponding pathway or not a corresponding pathway. Like, there has to be a bigger threat for them to change and go half crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. There has to be a reason for somebody to fucking go from sequence 1 to 9 and be like, YOLO, I only live once. I need to hit sequence 0 on something that's not compatible. Luckily I didn't read what Cammy said in case it was a spoiler. Or if it was accident, it's okay. Like, there has to be a big reason behind it. Not exactly? Okay, not exactly. But we'll leave it at that. That's right. But Elisa Tudor, it's a pretty hyped up character for me, at least from the fourth epoch. That is one of my most intriguing characters besides Zik and Def. Those are like my three most characters I'm the most interested from the fourth epoch. That's right, the Beyonder characteristics outside the sealed room are clearly not a sequence 4. To an evil spirit who was once a king of angels, they don't have any alert. Likewise, a red priest card, it can be understood that it took away the things in their room, but why didn't it leave anything? It's like telling others exactly like, ha, I've been fooled. I fooled you. I've already successfully escaped. Catch me if you can. Wait, perhaps that's exactly what it wishes to convey. As Klein thought, he suddenly found it amusing and he made Sorno speak. No, being crafty doesn't necessarily equate to not leaving any clues. The sequence 8 of the 100 Pathways Provoker. At that moment, Red Angel that surfaced in his mind had the picture of Anderson Hood over it. Sharon listened silently as he gaped her mouth silently, but she didn't say a word. Similarly, Klein was speechless. He felt that the Beyonders of the 100 Pathway truly had a crystal clear style. In comparison, the red-haired Helene didn't appear anything like someone from the Sauron family. I forgot she was a Sauron member. However, she was rather talented at provoking Vice Admiral Ailment, so yes, back then, the Sauron family members also infuriated Rizal terribly. Klein silently exhaled as he lampooned. The silent mood was soon broken by Klein. Sinart looked around and said a joke. Perhaps that's the reason why we captured and were brought here. Who was helping Elisa Tudor? Sharon translucent figure asked, but she didn't seem to look forward to the answer. Perhaps it's the 6 deities. Klein recalled the 6 deity statue in the hall. However, he had second thoughts. However, the 7 deities supported the Turneset Empire. The Sauron and Einhorn families were powerful aristocratic empires. The 7 deities supported the Turneset Empire, which means whoever was ruling the empire was stronger than the 7 deities, so they had to like bend the knee. The Sauron and Einhorn families were powerful aristocrats of the empire. Of course, it cannot be ruled out that they first supported Tudor and later had a falling out after he went mad. If it's not the 6 deities, does this mean that there was another deity supporting Elisa Tudor? Oh, the 7th one, huh? No, they chose to support, and so they just chose to support an empire, not necessarily because they feared the empire. They just chose to support them. Who would it be? Klein thought in silence, and I wonder if that has something to do with them not being able to descend the world anymore. They're gods. There is no one above them. You see, I know that is the implication, right? When you're 0. Okay, all right. They didn't support the same people. Klein thought in silence. Sharon didn't stay any longer. She floated up to the surface, returned to the tree. Klein stored away Senor's Rafe, allowing it to enter the gold coin inside the iron cigar case. It's just crazy you can just suck him into it. Then he asked in passing, actually, I've always been curious. Where do the powers of the pure evil spirits and Raves who do not have the Beyonder characteristics come from? The spirit world, Sharon answered simply. Messenger? The conservation of Beyonder characteristics, but the source of Beyonder powers isn't necessarily the same. Yes, perhaps the spirit world itself is a product of some Beyonder characteristic. What? Perhaps the spirit world itself is a product of some Beyonder characteristic. No shot. The spirit world is like the uniqueness itself for whatever corresponding pathway. Klein nodded and looked at the sully beneath his feet. Like, you must sacrifice the spirit world in order to like the that'd be wild. I continue investigating the whereabouts of the evil spirit. I'll inform you if there are any. He planned on asking the entire spirit world is maybe someone's. I think it actually is someone's characteristic. Or like it's like the uniqueness, and like you actually need to fucking consume the spirit world in order to hit sequence 0. That'd be fucking crazy, man. With that said, he took out a pen and paper, scribbled down the method to summoning his messenger, and handed it over. You can write to me if there's anything. Sharon received the piece of paper and seriously looked at it. I'll be in Braveheart's bar. Letters can be mailed to 126 Guard Street, Hilson Bar, addressing it to Ma'am Miriam. Alright, Klein stuffed his pen. Let me lower the volume. Alright, Klein stuffed his pen into his pocket in front of Sharon, and he used a ritualistic dagger to create a wall of spirituality and release the iron cigar case. Following that, he crossed the street to stop a carriage like a gentleman, sending Sharon all the way back to the Backland Bridge area. After doing this, he returned to the high-end hotel in Hillsborough. Midway, he changed his appearance and switched carriages. Bayham inside Seaweed Bar. The Nits. Oh, we're with the Nits. Okay. The Nits, who had spent some time drifting at sea, once again stepped back into the city generosity. He planned on helping the resistance handle some matters, and he's going to pray to the full. He pressed down on his cap, sat at the corner of the bar counter, and prepared the first hear of the recent news. He didn't wish to become a bounty reward due to ultimately or inaccurate intelligence. At this moment, he heard an adventurer beside him say to his companion, "Hey, do you think Germansborough will get someone to claim Admiral Blood's bounty on his behalf?" The Nit subconsciously looked up, looked at the speaker with a blank, confused look. He's like, "I'll do it." Fool's first believer, and he's going to claim his freaking bounty. All right, let's keep reading, dude. All right, next chapter, chapter 737. It's called Official Appearance. Why would the madman Germansborough need to find someone to claim Admiral Blood's bounty on his behalf? That's not right. Why would he be able to claim the bounty? The Nit suddenly snapped to his conclusion and grasped the crux of the matter. He immediately lowered his head to prevent himself from exposing his shocking confusion. The adventurers besides him continued their conversation. How would that be possible? No one would dare claim it on his behalf. That's right, unless they wish to bear the wrath of the Church of Storms for selling out Germansborough, 42,000 pounds. If I can receive the sum of money, I'll immediately head to Backland to be a tycoon. Who would have thunk? That's exactly what Klein's doing right now. He went to Backland. He's trying to become a tycoon. Wouldn't you be enjoying yourself in the Red Theater half a year first? Perhaps Germansborough can claim it from Intis, Facek, or Finnepotter. Although it wouldn't be much as 40,000 pounds, it's definitely in no way a low amount. As the adventurers conversed, they began imagining their lives after obtaining 42,000 pounds. They even had a conflict of opinion and began arguing with flushed faces. No way, aren't they implying that Germansborough had finished off Admiral Blood? No, although the madman always had the intention of doing so, he lacked the required support that he needed. He needs to work with Captain Anderson Hoods. The Nit shook his head. No, the Nit stood up, pressed down his hat, and kept his head down. He rushed towards the billiard and card rooms where there were newspapers placed there. Just as he left, the few adventurers from before looked at his back and spoke in hushed tones. Do you recognize him? It's obvious that something is wrong with how he was acting so suspiciously. I didn't get a good look, but I think he's a pirate who's here to gather intel, shall we? An adventurer gestured, slicing his hand across his throat. Perhaps it's someone we can't afford to offend. Let's wait and see. Another adventurer stopped his companions across. The Nits entered an empty billiard room, came to the corner, and picked up a stack of newspapers. He quickly flipped through them, and slowly his expression twisted. What did that madman do? He really finished off Admiral Blood. It's only been a few months, and his strength has risen to such a level. Furthermore, the papers didn't even mention Anderson Hood. The Nits was alarmed that thankfully he wisely chose to submit in front of Germansborough. Otherwise, people would have long seen the news of him being hunted in exchange for bounty money. No. Back then, my death wouldn't have been published. Man, Germansborough is really a member of a cult. As he thought, the Nit suddenly froze like a statue. That was because he had likely a member of the cult. The church and military often likes to exaggerate. Yes, it's a secret organization, not a cult. Okay, at least he's able to tell the difference. It's not a cult, it's an organization. I know he's always scared, but it's funny. It is peak. The Nit consoled himself before having the feeling that the organization backing Germansborough was surprisingly mysterious and abnormally powerful. Cuttlefish has been adding the word. We're not exactly a cult, but once you've been reading LTM for this long, it kind of does become a cult, right? We become like a cult-like book club. Let me find my place. The church and military often like to exaggerate. Yes, it's a secret organization, not a cult. The Nit consoled himself before having the feeling that the organization backing Germansborough was surprisingly mysterious and abnormally powerful. The successful hunting of Senor, one of the 7 pirate admirals, was evidence. Few the Nits exhaled as he apprehensively praised the fool inwardly, expressing his desires to handle matters seriously. In a small building near the governor's general offices, Ellen and Oos Kent walked out. It's finally over. Ellen sighed as he wore his captain's hat. Oos Kent rubbed his red brandy nose and added with a sigh, "That's right, they had been interrogated while separated for 2 full days. Because of Germansborough, they were faced with interrogators who were best at such matters. Thankfully, Elend had never hidden anything from the beginning. He had reported to his superiors that Germansborough was of unknown origins, but that he was friendly to the military. It has nothing to do with him, since the decisions of making this crazy adventure and informant while having his background investigated was made by the higher-ups. As for Oos Kent, there weren't any problems at all. He had followed regular protocol when claiming the bounty of German Sparrow. Where are the live volume 4 notes? We just got to the 4th epoch lore. Hold up. Thank you guys. We found our place after we were talking about that. I almost got lost. As they slowly walked towards the entrance in the middle of the garden, Ellen said with a sigh, "Who knew that German Sparrow was that crazy and powerful?" Well, according to the little we're recording, yes, we are. According to the little information that they knew, finishing off Admiral Blood was just one of the most ordinary and trivial matters that German Sparrow had done that day, and such a crazy person had made the choice of entering the dangerous Banshee to save a few messengers and crew members who had merely expressed their friendship to him. Ellen later learned that the dangers and lurking in Banshee had far exceeded his imagination. The Church of Storms had directly destroyed the entire place. If I had told the interrogators that German Sparrow had a soft and kind heart, they would definitely think I'm lying. Humans are really a mess. Contradictions. Ellen silently shook his head. After hearing Ellen's pungent remarks, Oosken replied with a wry smile, "Back then, I thought you introduced me to a relatively strong adventurer, but in the end, he even finished off Admiral Blood. Damn it. I even think he has the strength to become the 5th king. You wouldn't doubt what I say if you look at the forest and those nearby mountains. That place, it's like the forest?" Ellen glanced at Ooze Kent and finished his sentence for him. "It's like it was blasted by the coastal defenses more than 100 times over." That's right, Ooze Kent agreed with Ellen's description. By then, the two had walked out of the main entrance. Ellen looked at the night sky with the twinkling stars and the dark crimson moon. After a few seconds of silence, he adjusted his collar and said, "Let's hope he doesn't return to the sea again." He's like, fucking keep it. No, I want him back, okay? I want German back. German has to return at some point, because he's not dead, so he can return. Let's hope he doesn't return to the sea again. Bayham 6-3. That's amazing foreshadowing if he does return. Dressed in children's clothes, Denton ran up to the study and said to his older sister, who's practicing her sketching, Denton and Donna. This was from the beginning of Volume 3, right? The kids? Denton and Donna, they said that Uncle Sparrow is a bad guy, a cultist, and a murderer. Yeah, it is them. They even showed me the newspapers. Yeah, it is them. The return of the aura farmer, he's gonna have to come back. Donna turned her head as she wrinkled her nose. No way. Uncle Sparrow is righteous, brave, and kind adventurer. We saw it with our own eyes. They are definitely more reliable than the papers. She hesitated for a moment before eloquently saying, "Although he has a very terrifying and ugly appearance, it was a price for his dreams and the power to protect." Denton, remember, the papers often like to fabricate content based on rumors or hearsay. Yes, Denton, damn, they know about hearsay already? Or hearsay? Yes, Denton nodded heavily. I've already cursed them. They're going to go far in life. Donna praised her brother and subconsciously looked out unless they die. Hopefully not, because it's undying. So it's like somebody's clearly dying. She saw that the stream lamps had cast their light into the garden. It was a tranquil, serene, and gentle. A Hilster burrow inside a high-class inn. Klein folded a white handkerchief and placed it in his left breast pocket, and he raised his hands to retrieve his half-top hat. Today was the day of the mysterious tycoon Dwayne Dantes to officially appear in public. He didn't wait for the sale of the bike company shares or the mystical items, and he planned on first using the remaining £2,962 he had to cover for his initial expenses. This was sufficient, and it was equivalent to 6 to 7 years of upper middle class family income. Our roads didn't enter my dream last night. That means that he's unable to sense my return to Backland without any close contact. That's a good thing. Yes, I'll contact it with the radio transceiver tonight to inquire about the evil spirit. I won't need to go to this house in the future, Klein mumbled inwardly as he held his cane and walked out the hotel. At that moment, the sun was shining through in the midst of the elating the moods of the pedestrians. Klein got onto a carriage and he went straight for the Sherwood Borough City Family Servant Assistance Association at 9 Lowell Street. He planned on hiring an experienced butler and get him to organize the servants needed for a villa. In the City Family Servant Assistance Associations, Balin ended a conversation with a male colleague that came to talk to her. She lowered her head to clean up the 2 drops of black tea and her lotus leaf colored dress. At that moment, she heard a mellow and heavy voice that time had left its mark on. "Good morning, ma'am." "Good morning, ma'am." Balin hurriedly looked up and towards the reception. She saw a gentleman in his 40s wearing a tailcoat made of silk and carrying a gold inlet cane. Apart from the 3 buttons on her clothes, there was a golden chain that extended into his pocket. This gentleman had a pair of deep blue eyes, and he was good looking. Even the tiny white patches on his side of his hair had added to the air, and he exuded. Just a smile from him made Balaam feel like her cheeks turned warm. Sir, how may I be of service? All right, how may I address you? Balin hurriedly got up and said, Dwayne Dantes. Klein warmly replied with a smile, I wish to hire a butler. A good one. He's going to have his own private butler. Mr. Dantes, please wait a moment. Have a seat. Balin hurriedly led Klein to the guest area, and she reached out to point at the cloth sofa. Klein held a smile without rushing or nagging her. He very patiently sat down and waited the staff to provide him with a list of names and butlers. What a gentleman. Oh no, I forgot to ask him what requirements he has. Balin raised her hand and touched her cheeks and said, Mr. Dantes, what kind of butlers are you looking for? Klein was already prepared as he replied with a mellow voice. It's best if they have served in a noble family before. This aids Dantes in widening his social circles. Balin gradually grasps her professional knowledge before as she said in detail. Such butlers are rare. As you know, nobles seldom change their butlers unless they're unable to provide an effective service. Furthermore, even if they aren't able to be a butler, they'll be able to fill out other positions in noble households. In addition, the wealthy often have a considerable desire towards such butlers, and they're willing to offer salaries with premium. Mr. Dantes, we do have the kinds you're looking for, but their annual salaries are above £100. It's like, we got this. Klein is in his Audrey arc. Well, he's starting to dip his toes into the Hall family arc. So we'll see how far he goes into the Hall arc. We'll see how far he climbs the social ladder. Now, you won't be crazy if he starts going to all these crazy high gatherings, like in this like whole like hierarchy. We run into Earl Hall. I think that'd be no. Klein's not joining the Hall family, but I can see him going to like a Earl Hall banquet, and he like accidentally runs into Audrey. Easy should be in his Audrey arc. One day we will be in our Audrey arc. We will be like, and I won't tell you guys, but you'll know. Like, you'll see it. You'll see the signs. You know the meme? Like, I wouldn't tell anybody if I won the lottery, but you'll see signs. In addition, the wealthy often have, I just read this, that makes the weekly salary to be about £2 and up. An ordinary butler annual salary is about £40 to £80. What the fuck? An ordinary butler's annual salary. I thought it was weekly salary, which is 15 solely to £1, 10 solely a week. That appears to be at the level of a technical worker salary. Like, you're gonna see all these like crazy like Ellie portraits that are like custom made from like famous artists or some shit. Nah, imagine if Klein marries Audrey, he can join the family and have enough money to pay off Miss Sharon Messenger. I don't know. I'll be honest, man. I don't know how I feel about that ascend. I don't know. People have talked about Klein x Audrey. I don't know how I feel about that ship. I think she's adult. She's entered adulthood, but the fact that Klein knew her before she entered adulthood, I don't think that sits right with me. I'm more of a Klein X money kind of guy. I am definitely more of a Klein X. I almost said harem. I am more of a Klein X money kind of guy. Well, look, I just really like Klein X Sharon. I'll put it that way. I really like how like Sharon has been very quiet and apprehensive, and slowly over time he's like, she has warmed up to him, right? But like Audrey is more in love with the fool and the ideology behind being a part of the club, rather than having like an attachment, or like rather than being in love with the fool. You get me? But we'll see. I am more of a Klein X Sharon, but we will see how the tables fold. I know there is no there's no romance category. I know there's no romance. I think it might have lagged. I apologize. But it says it's stable now. It says excellent. Balin hurriedly looked up, and towards the reception, she saw a gentleman in his 40s wearing a toque coat made of silk and carrying a gold inland cane. Apart from the 3 buttons on his clothes, there was a golden chain that extended into his pocket. This gentleman had a pair of deep blue eyes, and he was good looking. Even the tiny white patches on the side of his hair had added to the air exude. Just a smile from him made Balin feel like her cheeks turned warm. Sir, how may I be of service? I think that was a typo. How may I be of service? All right, how may I address you? Balin hurriedly got... So his new butler is Balin. Balin hurriedly got up and said, Dwayne Dantes. Klein warmly replied with a smile, I wish to hire a butler, a good one. Mr. Dantes, please wait a moment. Have a seat. Balin hurriedly led Klein to the guest area. Oh, never mind. and she reached out to point at a cloth sofa. Klein had a smile without rushing or nagging. He very patiently sat down and awaited the staff to provide him with a list of names of butlers. What a gentleman. Oh no, I forgot to ask him what requirements he has. Balin raised her hand to touch her cheeks and said, Mr. Dantes, what kind of butlers are you looking for? Klein was already prepared as he replied with a mellow voice. It's best if they have served in a noble family before. Imagine we recruit Annie. Like Earl Hall fires Annie and then we recruit her. This aided Dantes and waiting in his social circles. Balin gradually grasped her professional knowledge as she said in detail. Such butlers are rare as you... What the... Didn't I just read this? I did read this. This makes the weekly salary to about £2 and up. An ordinary butler's annual salary is about 40 to 80 pounds, which is 15 solely and £1 10 solely a week. That appears to be the level of technical worker salary, but... I'm sorry, I think I reread that. But the master, we were literally stuck in a time loop. The master will provide room, food, clothes, charcoal, and other necessities. A butler practically has zero expenditures. An annual salary of £100 and above is really expensive. Klein quickly did the math and replied as though he didn't take much notice. No problem, as long as you're good butlers. Damn, man, he got that money now. He is... I was going to say he is literally living the life of a tycoon now. And the next chapter is called Life of a Tycoon. What a freaking coincidence, dude. That is such a funny coincidence. Look at that. All right, let's read the next chapter. Life of a Tycoon. All right. Chapter 738. It's called Life of a Tycoon. I can't believe it was such a coincidental moment that we were like, oh, he's living Life of a Tycoon. And then the chapter's called Life of a Tycoon. Please wait a moment. Would you like coffee or tea? Balin asked warmly. Klein laughed and replied, I enjoyed coffee when I was younger. Wait, hold up. All right. Wait, please wait a moment. Would you like coffee or tea? Balin asked warmly. Klein laughed and replied, I enjoyed coffee when I was younger, the rich and fragrant kind, but now I prefer black tea. I've preferred black tea as well. Then a cup of Marquis black tea, Balin suggested with a smile. The coffee and tea provided to a guests at the city family servant assistants associated were ordering and quality range from low to medium quality. Marcus black tea was a tea that Balaam had brought from her home for her own enjoyment. Klein wasn't a simpleton and he was great at observing. Just as he walked into the door, he would take in everything about his surroundings without anyone noticing. He was discovered that the coffee and tea container placed in the display case were very ordinary, and he believed that the quality was definitely lacking. Therefore, he believed that the Marquis black tea was likely reserved by the Association for VIPs, or it belonged to the lady before him. Regardless, it expressed how sincere she was. He didn't expose her as he smiled. Thank you. You leave me unable to reject your suggestion. How may I address you, ma'am? Just got here. Where are we at? We're at 738. We're like 5-6 chapters in. How may I address you, ma'am? Balin, just call me Balin. Balin said with a smile which resembled a blooming flower. She immediately briskly walked inside and she selected suitable candidates from her colleague. Then she returned to the reception counter, picked up a tin container, and carefully brewed a cup of black tea. Sigh, what a good-looking face and a good disposition. While being dressed in a way that speaks volumes of my status, I can still sense the friendliness from a beautiful girl, even though I'm a middle-aged. Klein was having such an experience for the first time as he couldn't help but sigh. This made him further understand the importance of the faceless principle of ultimately being yourself. If he didn't keep his mind and lost himself to the benefits brought about by his appearance, he would keep maintaining the corresponding appearance, resulting in him forgetting or even rejecting his former self, and he would gradually lose his identity and thus lose control. Soon, Balin carried a white gold-rimmed porcelain teacup and placed it in front of Dwayne Dantes. She said with a smile, it still needs some time to cool down. Klein looked down at the cup and said half-jokingly, perfect, this gives me time to adjust my mood to a more formally face this cup of black tea. His compliments and gratitude made Balin feel even better. She found him a true gentleman, or who knew his way with words. He definitely is not a believer of the Lord of Storms. Balin combed her slightly curly brown hair as she returned to the room to hurry her colleague. Before long, she came over with a stack of documents and sat on the single-seater beside him. After the screening, we have 3 suitable butlers. I'll briefly introduce you to them. The first person is Mr. Osnia, age 55. He's once served Viscount Yorkville. Klein, his V energy versus Dwayne's DILF energy. Virgin energy versus DILF energy. Yeah, it's like two sides, but two sides of the same coin, you know. But after the Viscount had a failed mining prospect investment. Hold up. Mining prospect. Wasn't this mentioned in volume 1? Like, for a mining company? Like, should we invest in it or not? His family fell in a particular financial situation. He had to sell its land and manors while terminating many of its servants. In the past decade, he was hired by 2 tycoons, and he had contributed significantly to the management of their households. As he spoke, Balin's brows, eyes sparkled like 2 stars hid in them. She exuded the unique vibes of a teenage girl. Klein nodded slightly and said, "Then why did he leave the two tycoons?" Balin replied with a smile. The first tycoon invested greatly into East Balam, and his whole family had moved there. Mr. Osnia wasn't willing to leave Backland, so he offered to resign. The second tycoon's health isn't too good, and he had handed the family business to his son, who was a butler he trusts more. Mr. Osnia is a believer of the Evernight Goddess, and his political inclinations is with the Conservative Party. He expects an annual salary of £130. The Lenovo scam. It might be another one though. Okay, because I remember the whole Lenovo scam, and they're like, should we invest in it or not? Because we put in a lot of money. Klein listened silently, nodded. Like it's when it's like when Klein first started acting as a seer. He's not a staunch believer of the Lord of Storms, and oh, I just read this. Klein listened silently, nodding from time to time as a response, but he didn't cut off Balin's description. Balin flipped through the documents and took a few glances into the book again. The third person is Mr. Walter, age 42. He has been at the Landstone and assistant of the butler in Viscount Conrad's household. Due to certain matters, he had a conflict with the butler, and he chose to leave. He expects an annual salary of £115. Mr. Walter White. Okay. He's a believer of the Evernight Goddess, and his political inclinations is with the new party. Orarvi Island's new Governor General is a member of the Viscount Conrad's family. This family pledges loyalty to the royal family. The relevant information quickly flashed through Klein's mind. After the introduction, Balin handed over the stack of documents. Mr. Danton, who do you wish to choose? Klein fell silent for a few seconds. I feel like we're going to choose for the believer of Evernight. Klein fell silent for a few seconds before saying with a smile, "Let's do this. Let the 3 of them come to where I live tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'll meet them and have a chat with them to make the final decision." He knew that such associations didn't provide lodgings and was purely an agency. Even if he made the selection right there and then, he still had to wait until the afternoon or tomorrow to see his butler. Therefore, he decided to have a small interview to select the person that matches his intentions the best. "No problem," Balin said with a smile. "May I know your address?" Klein sipped the black tea, picked up a pen and paper from the table, and wrote down the location and name of the hotel he was staying in. "You just came to Backland." Balin blurted out a question when he saw it. Only then did she realize that Mr. Dwayne Danton's skin was slightly darker than normal. It was slightly bronze-colored, seemingly as a result of tanning. It gave him quite a rugged flavor. Yes, he doesn't have a Backland accent. Balin slowly recalled in more details. Klein smiled. "I came from Desi Bay. I'm waiting for an excellent butler to help me seek out a suitable house and servants." After handing over a 3-pound deposit, he politely drank another sip of his black tea and got up to bid farewell. Balin sent him all the way out of the door and watched him board the carriage. Mr. Dantes also seems to be a tycoon. Compared to that, his bearings and gentlemanness are even more charming. Balin stopped in her spot as she casually thought. On the carriage, Klein half closed his eyes as he leaned against the wall, and he couldn't help but calculate the subsequent expenditures awaiting him. The butler will cost around £120, taking into account the average cost. A valet will cost £35, a chef £30, a gardener £25, a carriage driver £25, a nursery governess £20, 3 ordinary lady maid servants £15, and 3 maid servants £10. This way, just the servants alone will cost £330 a year. It's equivalent to £6 7 solely a week. This also exceeds my salary back in Tengen. Damn. He's definitely on that Earl Hall arc. He's definitely on the Audrey Hall arc. Yeah, he's going up. Furthermore, I'll need to have a carriage which costs about £100. What? I need a garden house, and the weekly rental fee is about £2. With all the food, clothes, and charcoal expenditures for all these people, the overall cost is ridiculous. Is this the life of a tycoon? Klein suddenly felt a little regret over choosing such a persona. He exhaled as he tried hard to ignore the matter. He took a carriage to Pope Street in Northborough. There was a pure black cathedral here with a clock tower on each side, producing a symmetrical beauty. This was none other than the headquarters of the Backland Diocese of the Church of Evernight Goddess, St. Samuel Cathedral. Bro. Dude, I feel like he's going to cry on the inside. Like, once he steals the Antigon's family notebook, Dwayne's arc is over, and, like, he doesn't need to act as a tycoon anymore. Like, once we get the book, we're out, you know? That'd be funny. And then he's like, I can finally save my money. Klein adjusted the handkerchief on his left pocket, held a gold inland cane, and strode into the cathedral. And he walked down the quiet aisle under the sunlight, which penetrated the colored glasses panes. I read that wrong. He came to the main prayer hall. It was very dark, making one's mood automatically turn peaceful. Klein casually found a spot, leaned his cane, and took off his hat. He then closed his eyes and prayed. Time passed, and after listening to the preaching, he slowly got up, walked to the altar, and bowed at the bishop with the short black hair. Then he walked to the donation box by the side. Exhaling silently, Klein took out a 10-pound note, 6-5. Oh, he's donating money so he can observe, right? So he can find who's one of the... Okay. 6 5-pound notes and stuffed it inside. The bishop caught this sight through the corner of his eyes, and his expression couldn't help but turn soft. Typically, unless they specifically solicited for donations or received donations from a deceased will, the cathedral's donation box received 10 pounds at most. This meant that the persona was a tycoon, a rich person. They're gonna keep inviting him. All right, I feel like this is a good way for him to like get in. Chapter 737. We make sure everything is updated. We forgot this part, so we're gonna fix this. It's a pretty lengthy title. I think it's our longest title yet. The Encountered and Yet to Be Encountered. In the main prayer hall of the St. Samba Cathedral, the black-haired bishop retracted his gaze and stopped looking at the middle-aged gentleman in front of the donation boxes, nor did he have any intentions of chatting with him. Here, before the holy altar, he represented the church, and he was under the goddess's sight. He couldn't show more warmth towards anyone because of their generous donations. However, he remembered the gentleman's good-looking and mature, refined disposition. He planned on attempting to get to know him when the opportunity arose in the future. Seeing the final note slip into the donation boxes, Klein closed his eyes and turned to leave. When passing the preaching bishop, he deliberately glanced at the clergyman and smiled with a nod. The bishop returned with a warm smile as he tapped his chest 4 times in a clockwise fashion. Klein wasn't in a hurry to make contact with the relevant persona. He needed his actions to adhere to logic and not have any jarring actions that would incur suspicions. He silently, coldly turned to the side to give way to another devotee, and he made way down the aisle back to a seat. He then picked up his hat and cane before walking out the cathedral. At that moment, with the preaching done, the devotees either went forward to the donation box to express their sincerity, or they got up to leave without feeling... Oh, my voice! Why is it failing me already? At that moment, with the preaching done, devotees either went forward up to the donation boxes to express their sincerity, or they would go up to leave without feeling that there was anything wrong. After all, it wasn't compulsory. Even a devotee who passionately donated was unable to donate money every time. It usually depended on the family's exact situation, doing it once or twice every 1 to 2 weeks. At that level of a commoner, each donation was in the form of pennies, while the middle class devotees range from 3 to 5 solely. The wealthy and noble used pounds, but they didn't exceed 100 pounds. Okay. So it's still, it's like between that. This was under ordinary circumstances. During the Evernight Goddess's Holy Memorial Day every year, which was the Winter's Gift Day, the amount donated would increase several times. The commoners with a little bit more cash to spare would choose 2 to 3 solely, while the middle class donated around 5 pounds. As for the members of the high society, they directly donated to the deceased bishop of the church charitable organizations, and ranging from several hundred pounds to a few thousand pounds. Damn. Winter Gifts Day was a day in a year when the night was longest. It was believed that the birthday of the Evernight Goddess. After leaving the cathedral, Klein stood at the square outside. He watched idly as pigeons flew up, circled around, and landed. He even bought some food from a nearby street hawker. He leisurely fed the pigeons, and he had no plans on flipping through the advertisements in the newspapers to find a suitable residence in Northborough, since it was the butler's mission. An excellent butler that had resided in Backland for many years has ought to know the different nobles and tycoons, as well as the best middle-class individuals who could provide their masters with help. He would know which streets to live in, and from there purposely choose a resistance. The interactions between neighbors was the first step for a newcomer to enter the reveling circles. Be it the Carson's Club, where members of the Conservative Party gather, the clubs of the New Party, or their various in-service and veteran clubs for the military. They also require a recommendation before any contact can be made. Side, this is also the so-called club politicals in the kingdom. Klein reined in his thoughts, and he considered what he should do after he was done setting up the pigeons feeding persona he created. After careful consideration, he discovered that there were really nothing they needed his immediate attention. This was because his plans were stuck on the surface. Hence, he planned on enjoying an expensive and sumptuous lunch. This was an action Dwayne Dantes ought to have, and it was also a result of Klein's own curiosity. Same with the club in volume 2. Yeah, what was the other club? Quilling Club, right? What I wonder is if he still has access to the Quilling Club with the same pin. Like, the pin never had his name per se, and even though it was 50 pounds, he should still be able to go in, right? And then him being a tycoon, I feel like they would let him in. And the months when he was in Backland, he didn't manage to muster the courage to head for the most famous restaurants in the big city to broaden his horizons. He kept choosing one of the four: his own dining hall, the buffet cafeteria of the Quilling Club, the ordinary restaurants by the streets, and Lord Jenkins' dining hall. Otherwise, he would head to the East Borough and settle his breakfast and lunch in what seemed like a very oily coffee shop. Labori Restaurants, their head chef is said to be from the Earl Hall family. He has provided Tycoon successful lawyers, high-ranking government officials with usually hard-to-come-by flavors. Earl Hall had apparently invested into the restaurant and holds quite a major stake in it. This restaurant mainly serves local Backland cuisine. It's very famous for its desserts, but its price is horrendous. Intis Senior Restaurant, it serves the most authentic Intis cuisine. Many of the specialty dishes use Roselle's names, claiming that it originated from the Emperor's Palace's dishes. Besides, it's not like most of the restaurants in the same class where they only offer a few main dishes. Every day it has a wide variety. Klein recalled the information of the top restaurants he had read from the papers and magazines, and he finally decided on trying out the Emperor's Palace's dishes. He didn't stay any longer as he got on the horse carriage and headed for the Intis Srenzor restaurant in Westboro. At the entrance, Klein handed his coat, hat, and cane to a red-vested waiter and asked, "Are there still any valuable seats? I didn't make any reservations." "Yes, sir." The red-vested waiter didn't show any abnormal behavior as he humbly asked, "Sir, is this your first time here? Are you alone?" Klein nodded frankly and smiled. "Yes." "Then may I have the honor of introducing you to our most unique dishes and fine wines in our restaurants has to offer?" And as the waiter spoke, he led the guest in. "That's exactly what I need." Klein passed through the beautifully decorated door, and he saw walls and nearly reflected golden light. Man, bro, plagiarized even food. He plagiarized everything. You know what's crazy? I went back. We finished volume 3 in a month. I checked it. If you go back, we started like May 20 something and we finished June 20 something. It's pretty crazy. Or no, wait, hold up. But like it was like almost to the date. We went through volume 3 in like a month. And also because since we were racing Wiz, we're like, we got to keep going. We got to beat him. Instantly, he felt as though he was in a gold vault. Then he noticed the old paintings hung on the wall, marble statues that were placed at suitable locations, as well as golden objects that were embedded or adorned in different spots. Wow. Yeah, I know. We went pretty quick. Please, and knock on wood, same pace this volume. "Please watch your step." The attendant warned him as he led Klein to a spot by the window. Violin music played the background of the restaurant. The waiter brought him a food menu and a wine menu as he flipped it open and introduced. "These are our most famous dishes: red braised Tajia beef short ribs." Damn, that sounds good. Some ribs. Black truffle. I've never had truffle, whatever that is. Black truffle porcini mushrooms intestinal foie grass. I would like to point out that our foie grass comes directly from the Bonus farm in Champagne, Provence, in the Intis Kingdom. That's some pretty good food. As Klein listened to the waiter's introduction, he browsed through the menu written in ancient Basic as the prices caught his eyes. Oh, these are going to be some expensive as meals. After introducing the main dishes, starters, and desserts, the waiter began explaining how the wine should be matched. Oh, it's an expensive wine. "Would you like this expensive 10,000 pound wine?" Finally, he said, "The champagne, red wine, and white wine we have all come from the famous brewery from the Champagne provenance. We have an Amir red wine from 1330. Oh, okay, $1,000 price. Its price is 126 pounds. If you wish to purchase it, you can take it along with you or store it with us, drinking a cup every time you come. 126 pounds. I can already hire an excellent butler with that." Heh. Klein smiled with great surface. "Your dishes and wines are excellent. It's really difficult to choose." It's like, it's too proud. It's like, give me the cheapest one.
The red-vested waiter gave a hospital smile. You can choose the chef's recommendations for their day. It will be an authentic and a delicious in-this meal arranged by our main chef. There are 3 choices, 15 pounds, 10 pounds, and 8 pounds. I don't want any of them. Klein leaned back slightly as he smiled. I'll have the 15-pound set meal. All right. The red-vested waiter took away the menu as he walked towards the kitchen. Damn. Like, when he first joined the Nighthawks, that didn't even cover his weekly salary. His weekly salary was like 10 pounds, man. That is wild. Dude, I definitely wouldn't be able to afford food in this restaurant, man. That shit is wild. This shit is pricey. Klein drew a breath and slowly exhaled as he cautiously observed the area before him. Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure. It was a lady wearing an oil green dress. She was tall with an excellent figure. She wore a black out-fashioned bonnet with a fishnet veil hanging down, concealing her face. As a faceless client had a strong ability to discern the external characteristics of humans. He immediately identified the lady, Queen Mystic Emperor Roselle's eldest daughter, Bernadette Gustave. He wasn't in a rush to look away as he naturally moved his gaze to the side. Bernadette didn't seem to notice anything abnormal as she disappeared around the stairwell. Bro, might lose control because of these prices? I would lose control. Why would she appear here? Wait, who? Bernadette. Slowly exhaled as he casually observed the area before him. Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure. It was a lady wearing an olive green dress. She was tall with an excellent figure. She wore a black out-of-fashion bonnet with a fishnet veil hanging down and concealing her face. As a faceless client had a strong ability to discern the external characteristics of humans, he immediately identified it's fucking Queen Mystic. What is she doing back here? Queen Mystic, Emperor Roselle's eldest daughter, Bernadette Gustave. He wasn't in a rush to look away as he naturally moved his gaze to the side. Bernadette didn't seem to notice anything abnormal as she disappeared around the stairwell. Why would she appear here? Right, this restaurant's specialty is Emperor Roselle's palace dishes. Aw, she's probably reminiscing his food. Huh? It's nothing like the Chinese cuisine I thought it would be. He probably doesn't know how to cook. He couldn't even plagiarize his homemade food. And is able to describe the concept. There are stir-fried dishes here. Could the owner behind the scenes actually be her? Why is she here in Backland instead of floating out at sea? Hasn't she found Hero Banded Black Emperor? Klein sat down with a calm expression as questions arose in his mind. Meanwhile, in the streets, a carriage was driving towards the Intis Srinzu restaurant. Sitting in the carriage was Aaron Cerise family. Aaron Cerise. I don't remember that name. Yo, what's up, dude? I was about to say, this is Roselle slander. I'm starting to like Roselle the more we read. So now I'm like, come on, Klein, don't diss him like that. Sitting in the carriage was Aaron Cerise family. The famous surgeon was a member of the Quilling Club, a good friend of Sherlock Moriarty. He once sought out a detective to handle... Oh, Aaron! He once sought out the detective to handle Will Ossipton's matters. Ever since his wife became pregnant, he found... Oh, I wonder if we're going to see her. Or we're going to see him. Ever since his wife became pregnant, he found his luck has become rather good. Oh, Will is enhancing his luck. Oh, shit. No wonder he actually just got lucky. Will is like purposely enhancing him and his wife's luck so he can have like a safe delivery. Ever since his wife became pregnant, he found his luck and had become rather good. His business was improving by the day and his income was rising by the month. He recently successfully completed Baron Syndra's surgery and he received the commendation of his newly promoted noble. He was invited to Srinzo restaurant to have lunch with him. It said that the ice cream is pretty good. Aaron smiled as he said to his wife. Ooh, here we go. Oh, shit. His wife was a black-haired beauty and she was already obviously pregnant. She smiled demurely and said, I'm more looking forward to Emperor Roselle's palace dishes. Damn, they moved up. Bros and angels, so yeah, it's better to give a little luck to at least. Yeah. Will is just like the true creator trying to... Dude, not only that... Wait, hold up. For the true creator, he put his, like, spawn in Magoo's. But this is, like, actually Will being reborn. That's still crazy, though. But, like, this is, like, a good version of it. This is, like, if the true creator wasn't evil and it was, like, this was him doing it out of good faith, you know, like, goodwill. His wife was a black-haired beauty. She was already obviously pregnant. She smiled demurely and said, I'm more looking forward to Emperor Roselle's palace dishes. Aaron tearfully acknowledged as he looked out the window. We're almost there. Just as he said that, his wife held her tubby and frowned. It hurts a little. Aaron, who wasn't a first-time Aaron, who wasn't a first-time father, immediately checked on her and didn't discover any problems, but his wife was feeling greater discomfort. The child in her womb seemed to be pulling a tantrum. He probably sensed Klein. Damn. He's not evil. Trust. Oh, I feel like, unironically, I'll keep it $150. I feel like he actually might be the lesser evil in this story. I feel like there actually might be a bigger bad guy, and like for whatever reason, he has to be the lesser evil. We're almost there, just a little. Her wife held her tummy and frowned. It hurts a little. I think he's actually having a tantrum because he can sense Klein. He's like, ah, shit, he found me. Aaron, who was a first-time father, immediately checked on her and didn't discover any problems, but his wife was feeling greater discomfort. The child in her womb seemed to be pulling a tantrum. I think I won't go over there. I wish to return home and rest. Aaron's wife suggested. Damn, he fucking implemented a subtle psychological cue on her. Be like, you don't want to go eat there. Damn. Aaron's wife suggested. Aaron thought for a while and said, I'll accompany you home. He immediately ordered his valet, get down here and head to the restaurant to apologize to Baron Cintas on my behalf. After the carriage began its return, they discovered that Aaron's wife suffered was relieved. By the time she walked through the doorsteps, everything was normal. It's literally because he can sense Klein. She pointed at her tummy and exasperated. It appears like he doesn't want to eat ice cream. No, he doesn't want to be next to him, dude. Achoo is in the Entis Srenzi restaurant. Klein sneezed. That's so funny. Achoo. In the Entis Srenzo restaurant, Klein, who hadn't sprayed any dishes, felt a pinch but began enjoying his ice cream and satisfaction. Midway, he found his nose itchy as he sneezed into a piece of tissue paper he pulled out. Will is thinking about Klein. That is such a funny little trope to add. He's like, choo. It's because Will's thinking about him. Westboro in a dark house. Yeah, he doesn't want to do anything with him right now. Forrest, who was already advancing to astrologer... Already? Forrest, who was already oh wait, she already advanced. Remember, her teacher was gonna send him the ingredients in due time. Forrest, who had already advanced to astrologer, participated in all kinds of Beyond gatherings in search of the possibility to earn money. She owes Shio 220 pounds, and she even suspected that by her good friend being involved in illegal gambling. I can't even afford to buy my essential crystal ball. As her thoughts wandered, Forrest suddenly heard a member of the gathering say, I wish to sell a moon puppet. A what? A moon and a puppet? This is a new sequence? No, we've known astrologer. We've known astrologer. No, we've known astrologer for a while. Oh wait, the moon puppet is a new sequence. What the fuck? I wish to sell a moon puppet. Well, hold up. I don't know if we're talking about a puppet or a sequence. Hold up. I wish to sell a moon puppet. Okay. All right, here. Let's resume. We're gonna do our outro from this point. One sec. Let's resume this. Okay, so I will make it my due diligence. We're gonna make a very cinematic outro by kind of flexing our notes from volumes 1 through 2, right? So I am going to do my due diligence to update my notes. And right now, D, Romero, and our mods, like, they have been doing an amazing job by helping me, like, add important lore that gets brought up as we're streaming. So in volume 2, and then in volume 3, they came in clutch. Apparently, our read-through today added 1 additional page of notes. I'm like, bro, hold up. We got to chill. Like, this is... LOTM has way too much lore sometimes. But that's the fun of it. So I will make it my due diligence to start categorizing. Look, hold up. Volume 3 had about 10 pages of notes that I will start adding. And look, I'm going to keep it $150. We have about... Dude, if Yen Press makes an announcement for Anime Expo tomorrow, I already know it. They're going to be selling early copies at Anime Expo. And you best believe it. I am going to buy our volume, okay? It's not just going to be my volume. I am going to buy our volume together, okay? With the support you guys have shown me, it's not just my volume. It is our volume, okay? You can't get me like that. Hell, ain't no way they're going to cancel AX. If there is lore we add in the channel up, if you want to put it in your notes, yeah, I know. You guys have been helping me out. Anything that gets added, I will start adding it here. And then, because what I did for my volume 3 notes, I would retroactively reread the volumes after the stream and kind of, I wouldn't read it. I'd mostly like skim it. And whenever I'd see lore, first I add it, and then I go back to where you guys added it in my notes, and then I see. Yeah, we are immune. Well, we're not fully immune, but we are. I trust since I showed before that they have LOTM on the cover pic. Okay, bet. I'll double check if I'm following Yen Press on Twitter. But I feel like they might sell early copies over there. Yeah, because they did post a picture that they already have some volumes out, so they might have like a few early copies that they printed that they're gonna sell over there. And you know what? If there's a limited edition volume 1, you best believe we are going to buy it together. I'm just having an off day. No, we're never having off days. It's okay. So look, we will be back tomorrow to read more of volume 4. I had fun. I'm loving the whole Tycoon arc with him, and then him being a marionettist, and now him controlling a marionette to like go down there with Sharon. I'm loving it. It's good. It's exciting. I'm crazy to see. I'm excited to see how crazy the fights are gonna get. Oh man, I wanted to buy the copies, but they're not even supplied to my country. Really? Damn, man. There has to be some crazy way to like import it from like a third party or something. But we're gonna leave it there. I'm gonna see you guys soon. We're gonna read more of Volume 4 tomorrow, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to read Volume 4 while we're at Anime Expo from Thursday to Sunday. So when we get back from our trip to Anime Expo, we'll read it. Now, I think this is what I'm gonna have to do. I don't know if I'm... Just heads up, that the episode 3 react might not happen until Monday. But we'll see. We'll see how it works. All right, you guys have a beautiful day. And I'm gonna see you guys all very soon, okay? Have a lovely day. Have a beautiful, blessed day. And don't forget, praise the fool. And I'm gonna see you guys all really soon. All right, later, guys. Peace, and have a good day. Oh, and you know what? For people that haven't been watching our live stream, this was our new layout when we were doing our 24-hour countdown stream for Volume 4 for the Dunkwa. So I think I'm gonna leave this. I think this is good, unless we go to the full cam. But I kind of like this template. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like this template. And then look, I can still technically show my screen like this, but it's a little small when it's kind of like that. Well, no, we're not selling the end. We're just having a expanded outro. So have a beautiful day, and I will see you guys really soon. Template really good. I think we can always work on it, add a little bit more, but we can work on it. I think my camera positioned is good right here. I need to fix my camera position right here because I feel like I should be here, so I'm gonna have to adjust that. So have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys all really soon. All right, peace, and have a good day.